Yeah, this last one recording reminds me of my wives. Not just my second wife, but my third wife too. I was in love with both, and they in love with me. And I was so much older in both cases that they saw me as the older, mature man and had the answers, and had the answers spiritually in particular. And I mean, they were both a wonderful blessing to me. I mean, they both went off me in the end. I mean, one 18 years and one 5, 7 years, whatever it was. But I wouldn't have been without them for the world. Definitely, unquestionably. First wife, it was different. She was older than me. And I respected her maturity in her faith, which I was entering towards an earnest Christian faith. She was Baptist, and she'd been in an interdenominational type outreach group where the leader, a young chap of course, who also was actually Pentecostal and became a Pentecostal minister, was while we were married. And we were married 18 years again, my first wife and I. We went to his church for a while till we realised his religion was not really ours. In a sense, But yes, that was a different age relationship, and we were not in love. We chose to love each other, love and care, and in a young Christian context. Not charismatic at first, but increasingly so, and then very well. We read Prison to Praise together by Merlin Carruthers, and that had a profound effect. The notion that God was all-powerful and loves us, and therefore we can praise him for everything in our life, because he rules the details, all of them. A very simplistic view, and a profound view as regards realizing miracles in your life, just staggering. And many of the books that he wrote subsequent to Prison to Praise, Merlin Carruthers' writing, had all the letters and so on, and consequences of people who'd followed this simple practice of thanking God for not just the good things, but the difficult things too, and finding a great trust and good, miraculous outcome so often in such circumstances. That was our spiritual life. It was not falling in love with each other, which the second and third wife was unquestionably. Head over heels. I remember holding my second wife. I mean, before we were married, just holding her in my arms. And I was in paradise just to hold her. Her nearness to me took my breath away. I literally just stopped breathing. Just holding her, the loveliness of her. Absolutely staggering. When I met my third wife, the Salvation Army meeting, I looked into this stranger's eyes. She was very young. I wasn't thinking of her as a partner or anything like that. I just looked into her eyes, being introduced to her for the first time. was overwhelmed by the conviction that this girl loved her God as I loved mine. And strangely enough, she was attracted to me because she felt I had a religion that had the love of God in it, rather more than her Seventh-day Adventist view that she'd been brought up with most earnestly. And she was more earnest than the view, I think, and knew what she was looking for. And I suppose she didn't really realize that she loved God more earnestly than she thought. But I realized it just looking into her face. I don't mean I took her from that moment on as my partner, but to me, I knew she was just a wonderful person. You may say, childishly, I felt that she loved God as I love God. She, on the other hand, felt she needed to know much more my God because it was more about love than the religion she'd been following most earnestly. Well, that marriage only lasted, well, it lasted 5 or 7 years, but I suppose it had packed up after about 4 dramatically. And as I say, that seemed to coincide with conceiving a bubby. And she switched from God and from Marshall. And has progressively hated me ever since. Some, I don't know, 10 or 15 years now, I don't know. Staggering, frightening experience. And of course, potentially wretched for me. But for the grace of God. And caused me to turn to my trust in God far more urgently and deeply. So found to be an incredible blessing. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. This song, I've not thought of it for a long time, comes to mind. Let me speak it to you, dear ones. It's Ascribe Greatness, it's called. Ascribe greatness to our God, the Rock. His work is perfect, and all his ways are just. Ascribe greatness to our God, the Rock. His work is perfect, and all his ways are just. A God of faithfulness, without injustice, pure and upright is he. A God of faithfulness, without injustice, pure and upright is he. Ascribe greatness to our God, the Rock. His work is perfect, and all his ways are just. Ascribe greatness to our God, the Rock. His work is perfect, and all his ways are just. A God of faithfulness, without injustice, pure and upright is he. A God of faithfulness, without injustice, pure and upright is he. Bless you. thank you, Heavenly Dad.